The Wells Report returns in 30 seconds. North to south, coast to coast, around the world, this is the Wells Report. On this broadcast, we report the news honestly and fairly. We analyze the news for fact and bias. We point out both. We de-propagandize the mainstream media. We also make commentary. Commentary is not news. Commentary is opinion, both yours and mine. Let's compare. Let's debate. News, analysis, commentary, and debate. This is the Wells Report. And so we are in an amazing era of time in the United States of America, and it all surrounds something that has been the bane of our existence. Quite literally, the bane of our existence. And what is that? American politics. American politics is out of frickin' control. Pardon my language. It's just out of control. And it's out of control because that's the way the political process wants it. Doesn't make any difference what part of the American political spectrum you fall on. Politics has decided, the people in politics have decided that they should lead American life at every possible level, and it makes no difference which party it is. And so, especially during an election year, the dumbest, most ridiculous, foolish, overcooked, overwrought, pearl-clutching garbage that you have ever seen is part of the American debate. And it is just plain reprehensible. Politics is not supposed to play this big a role in our lives, and yet it does, day in, day out. I'm frustrated with it because I have to cover it. This broadcast is about the news and what I consider to be, and pardon me if it sounds like I'm backslapping myself, but, our analysis of the news and the facts, based on the actual propagandist news that is thrust in front of you. We analyze that news and we de-propagandize it. But it's all surrounding this ridiculous idea that the only thing that matters is politics. So I report the news, and that's the news. But it's frustrating me as a human being to have all of this cluttered around us at every given moment. The latest thing on this, the latest thing on that. Who said this about what? What said this about that? And blah, blah, blah. People hate politics in this nation. If you don't believe me, look at any of the approval ratings for any person in politics, except for the possible exception of President Trump and President Biden. There are people on that side that love that guy too. But you look at actual issues, and the results are plain, but it's polling. Polling doesn't matter. Polling is dishonest. Polling is part of the marketing. And here we are again, being manipulated again, all over this unbelievably important election again. The last 4 election cycles, the last 4 have been the most important election in the history of the Republic. And here we are again. We've got to save the country. Both sides say it. Which ones are right? Well, I guess we'll find out in November. So there are many issues here that we really do need to discuss, and yeah, it's the news. And after all that rant, my frustration, I'm sorry, I just finished my show prep, and that rant was the absolute result of that. And it's not just American politics, it's world politics. We've got some unbelievable mess going on regarding to sports events that have to do with Palestinian protesters. Seriously? Yeah, it's awful. Let's keep rolling here as we continue. There are debate folk that are talking about, well, guess what? The debate. And they're talking about what's going to happen in 2 days or so, 3 days or so. And there are peripheral stories around that. But let's talk a little bit about some of the ones that I think matter the most. And that has to do with hang on just a minute here. There we go. I knew I would be able to get that done if I could just get my computer to catch up with me. So there are going to be debate rules. The debate is coming up in a few days, and Charlemagne the God predicted that presidential debate is going to be bad for President Biden, suggested that muted microphones might not work to the president's advantage. The rules for the Thursday debate between Biden and former President Trump include muted microphones outside their speaking time with no live audience, good, no pre-written notes, and no consulting with campaign aides during the breaks. Charlemagne said, "Do you not want Trump to be interrupted?" Referencing rules of the debate. You're thinking about it one way. You're just going to let Trump go. You can't jump in. And you 80 plus years old and trying to keep up with everything single lie he's going to lay out? Are you serious? Biden is not going to be able to keep up. Obviously, Charlemagne is a Biden supporter. But at least he's fair and clear-eyed about everything having to do with President Biden. He's straightforward here. I mean, this guy is good. I mean, we disagree politically, but that's not the point. The point is this guy is doing what I'm doing. He is calling it the way he sees it. Now, I report the news on top of that. He doesn't report the news. He just calls it the way he sees it. I report the news first. But this guy's good. The radio host said the debate was going to be must-see TV and likened it to a real live freestyle battle. Good luck, President Joe Biden. The 90-minute debate, which will happen in 3 days, will be hosted by CNN's Jake Tapper and Dana Bash. It will be the first in-person face-off between Biden and Trump since they stood alongside one another on the debate stage during the 2020 cycle. Listen, I don't know. Maybe it won't be bad. Maybe they've got some new S word they've been working on, some super serum, you know what I mean? And they're going to shoot. It's going to be bad. I just hope that the president doesn't stroke out. I mean, he's going to be pushed. He's going to be pushed, and I have to point out, from an opinion standpoint only, the president is on drugs to help his dementia, his cognitive decline. And that pushes your physiology. And yeah, the president has always been in good shape physically, except, of course, now that he's having trouble walking because his brain is deteriorating. You know, I didn't worry about the bumbles and the mumbles and the stumbles and so on and so forth, not the mental ones, because that's Joe Biden. But the first time I saw the president walk, I said, there is something badly wrong with that man, and it's gotten steadily worse. And I'm worried about his health during this debate. What are we going to do? What are we going to do if on CNN we watch the president have a stroke? I'm pretty sure there's going to be a delay, so we won't actually see it. But what if that happens? I mean, we've all seen videos of people that slip into an aphasic condition while they're on the air. I'm hoping that never happens to me because it's horrifying to watch. What if that happens to President Biden? It almost happened the other day when he was trying to recall Secretary Mayorkas's name. I mean, he mumbled and stumbled and hit a catchphrase. And that was part of cognitive decline. I'm worried about the president physically. Mentally, politically, you know, that kind of falls by the wayside. I'm worried about the man's life. And I got to tell you something. If all these DNC clowns that put this poor old man into this position, if they lose him on national television, I might quite literally go to Washington, New York, Atlanta, where CNN is, and literally just rant. The DNC headquarters in Washington, I've got to tell you something, man. They were so worried about Bernie Sanders taking over the party and turning it into the Social Democrat Party, like it isn't already, that they fixed the 2020 primary and they installed Joe Biden. And Joe Biden isn't even making the calls. He's not even making the calls. President Biden should be debating with President Obama, Hillary Clinton, Susan Rice, all these other characters from the Obama administration, because that's who's running the country right now. And they weren't elected. Joe Biden was. But Joe Biden can't run the country. He can barely walk across a grass meadow. He is too feeble, too old, and has too many memory problems to be tried in federal court for his handling of classified documents. By the way, the trial for Donald Trump handling classified documents is underway again today. We'll be talking about that a little bit later on. Terrific. I guess I'm just in a ranting mood. I am really upset about all this. I am. Some of the other sausage making. The Trump campaign says a recent fact-checking report debunked the claim that then President Trump spoke favorably of neo-Nazis in 2017. And the campaign says it shows President Biden's campaign promoted a lie and called on them not to promote that hoax again. Guess who found the fact on this one? USA Today? No. Was it Fox News fact checker? No. It was Snopes. Remember how in 2020 everybody said Snopes was biased and Snopes was this and Snopes was leftist and so on? Well, maybe they're trying to do something about it. They published a piece on Saturday debunking claims promoted by President Biden and some members of the media following the Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, Virginia in 2017. Trump called neo-Nazis very fine people. That's not what he said. In this particular piece, it's funny. This is a piece on fact-checking and bias, and they throw unreal facts and bias into the news copy. That's Fox News, by the way. Biden has repeatedly cited the false claim, even saying it was the impetus for his 2020 run against Trump. The Trump campaign National Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt told Fox News Digital over the weekend the Snopes fact check shows Biden and other corrupted Democrats promoted a lie and a hoax. Wow. What, during an election season in America, they're promoting lies and hoaxes? Well, The Charlottesville lie was another hoax perpetuated by the corrupt Democrats and their mouthpieces in the fake news media, just like the Hunter Biden laptop, the Russian collusion scandal, so many others, all in an attempt to smear President Trump. Joe Biden's campaign must end any advertising that pushes this lie because President Trump has once again been proven right. Snopes detailed its fact check that Trump was clear he was not calling neo-Nazis fine people when he made the comment in a press conference that year. While Trump did say there were very fine people on both sides, he also specifically noted he was not talking about neo-Nazis and white supremacists and said they should be condemned totally. Therefore, we have rated this claim false. And yet it's still part of the national consciousness. Why? In my view, because the Biden campaign is grasping at straws. Regardless of what you think about President Trump is not the issues confronting this nation moving forward for the next 4 years. His circumstances are not the national issues. Inflation, energy, government corruption. Those are the issues. And in any of those things, do you believe that one candidate is better than another? Maybe you should tell me. 817-379-2172. This is the Wells Report. Back with more in a moment.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer. And again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
This is the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. On our chat room that you can find on the platform you're watching this broadcast on, Martha Brothers says, yeah, I've been worried about all this for 3 years. Yeah, so have I. Yeah, not so much about President Biden and his politics, but how the left has done so much to damage this nation using the Biden administration as kind of a shoehorn to put it into our society. You know... Anyway, it's Rant Monday. I am just so upset about this. I mean, and it started by watching one of these reports. You know, this is great. A visibly miffed CNN host, Casey Hunt, and this is being reported by Fox News, abruptly ended her interview with Trump campaign spokeswoman, that was Caroline Leavitt, when Caroline Leavitt criticized her colleagues Dana Bash and Jake Tapper as being biased against their boss. And they're talking about being biased against President Trump and CNN bias in general. This is how the conversation went, and we're bringing it to you on the Wells Report.
President Trump is knowingly going into a hostile environment on this very network, on CNN, with debate moderators who have made their opinions about him very well known over the past 8 years and their biased coverage of him. So President Trump is willing to bring his message to every corner of this country, to voters, to ensure that he wins this election in November. He looks forward to doing that. And I know the American public look forward to hearing from him.
So I'll just say my colleagues, Jake Tapper and Dana Bash, have acquitted themselves as professionals as they have covered campaigns and interviewed candidates from all sides of the aisle. I'll also say that if you talk to analysts of debates previous, that if you're attacking the moderators, you're usually losing. So I really want to focus in on what these two men are going to do and say when they stand on the stage. What do you expect from Joe Biden?
Well, first of all, it takes someone 5 minutes to Google Jake Tapper, Donald Trump, to see that Jake Tapper has consistently,
we're going to stop this interview if you're going to keep
President
attacking
Trump
my colleagues.
Adolf Hitler.
Ma'am, I'm going to stop this interview if you
I'm
continue to attack my colleagues. I would like to talk about Joe Biden and Donald Trump, who you work for.
Yes.
If you are here to speak on his behalf, I am willing to have this conversation.
I am stating facts that your colleagues have stated in the past.
Okay,
now,
I'm sorry, guys. We're going to come back out to the panel. Caroline, thank you very much for your time. You are welcome to come back at any point. She is welcome to come back and speak about Donald Trump, and Donald Trump will have equal time to Joe Biden when they both join us now at later this week in Atlanta for this debate. Our thanks to Caroline.
Join us now later this week. Yeah, that's a bad moment. And I got to be honest with you, you got to have poise when you're on television. You got to listen to the people that are saying what they're saying. And as a reporter, you have to report the news. And for whatever reason, Caroline Levitt represents the news at that particular moment. You got to let her speak. And when you start ending interviews live on air, you have lost control of the broadcast. It's unnecessary. It's unprofessional. And I dare say that since this is the network where the debate is actually going to be held, and since we do know that Caroline Levitt is correct, that Jake Tapper and Dana Bash are both painfully biased against President Trump, that this is going to be a situation where the President of the United States, the former president, is going to walk onto a stage in a CNN studio and be debating three different people. Joe Biden, Dana Bash, Jake Tapper. I've got a lot of respect for Jake Tapper. I have a lot of respect for Dana Bash. But when you abandon truth and choose sides, you destroy yourself. So many people poisoned by politics. Ruined. And it's not Caroline Levitt pointing out that lack of credibility exists in these CNN moderators. It's plain logic and visual and audible experience watching that network. This is the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. Thanks very much for being a part of our show. Telephone number 817-379-2172. We'll be back with more in just a moment.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
News, analysis, commentary, and debate. This is the Wells Report. Good morning. I'm John David Wells. Our telephone number 817-379-2172. Today is Monday, June 24th, year of our Lord, 2024. We talked a little bit about how the classified documents trial is underway in Florida, and there is news on this. I want to run through it very quickly. The first hearing ended about 11:45 this morning. That's Eastern time, so it was 10:45 this morning. Featured an appearance from special counsel Jack Smith and an argument from former President Trump's defense attorney Emil Bove. The hearing began around 9 o'clock this morning. The court considered a motion from Trump's defense team to dismiss the classified documents case entirely due to what they claimed is unlawful funding of the appointed special counsel Jack Smith. Bove argued that the funding being used by Jack Smith's team is not authorized by statute, poses a separation of powers issue as the special counsel is able to access an allegedly infinite amount of money to pursue Donald Trump. The next hearing of the day begins at 2 o'clock Central Time. And the topic will be a motion from the prosecution in which Smith's team asked U.S. District Judge Eileen Cannon for the Southern District of Florida to modify the condition of Trump's release. The government is seeking to have the conditions of the former president's release changed to include restrictions on speech. In other words, another gag order. This is clearly unconstitutional. It is clearly an election year. It is clearly a situation where they are trying to hinder President Trump's ability to speak plainly about the situation that he is currently embroiled in. And it's just plain wrong, in my humble opinion. I know I'm supposed to go over here to say that stuff, but that's why I say, in my humble opinion. So the government is seeking to have those conditions. They're trying to put a gag order on President Trump. What do you think about that? 817-379-2172, 817-379-2172. Judge Cannon then asked if there was any cap to funding Jack Smith was being able to use. Before the hearing wrapped up, former President Donald Trump's defense team did argue the special counsel Smith's office should not have been accessing the funds it currently uses from the outset. U.S. District Judge Eileen Cannon queried the defense about Trump's stake in the matter, to which Trump's defense lawyer, Emil Bove, cited the threat to liberty posed by Trump's potential conviction as justification for his standing. Judge Cannon raised concerns about the unauthorized nature of the funding, asking if that was the core issue, to which Bove then said yes. Later, Cannon inquired if there was a cap on the funding, to which Bove indicated there was not, emphasizing the potential risks associated with unrestricted access to funding, and suggested the court should scrutinize it closely. Bove further argued the current setup represents a separation of powers issue, with the special counsel having unrestricted access to funds for prosecution purposes, which he believes warrants careful consideration by the court. So, like we said, the next one, this, by the way, from 7 minutes ago, this, by the way, is going to be tried and talked about at 2 p.m. Central Time later this afternoon. U.S. Special Counsel Jack Smith actually appeared in the courtroom today for the hearing into motions regarding his appointment to former President Trump's classified documents case. Fox News was told the special counsel appointed by Attorney General Merrick Garland in 2022 has not spoken. Smith is sitting behind the prosecution, not at the table, but also not in the gallery. Smith was present as Trump defense attorney Emil Bove argued that the money being used by the special counsel's team should not have been accessible to him. U.S. District Judge Eileen Cannon for the Southern District of Florida questioned Bove over the defense's standing, to which he replied that Trump's stake in the matter is due to the threat to liberty posed by a potential conviction of the former president. She further probed the argument, asking whether the issue is because funding isn't authorized by statute, and Bove said yes. Part of the issue taken by the Trump defense is the special counsel's funding operating without a cap. Bove claimed the problem is separation of powers. Smith and his team are using what amounts to an infinite budget to prosecute the former president. That is the latest, and I wanted to bring that up before we move to the next story here on the Wells Report, and it's a tragic, sad, and horrific one. Franklin Pena is 26 years old. He appeared in court this morning as one of the men charged in the murder of 12-year-old Jocelyn Nungaray. Pena, along with his 22-year-old accomplice or alleged accomplice, Johan Jose Martinez Rangel, faces charges of capital murder in the case. There was a report from KPRC Channel 2 about this. This was before the actual hearing took place. It is something that I believe you need to see, and let's take a look at it here on the Wells Report as we continue for this Monday morning.
We can expect a district court judge to set bond for Pena. Now, you may remember on Friday, both men were supposed to be in court. They waived their right to be in court. The state requested a $1 million bond. Now, I want to show you their mugshots on our screen right now. Pena and Martinez Rangel are accused of asking Jocelyn for directions before luring the little girl to a bridge off Rankin Road in North Houston, where they tied her up, removed her pants, strangled her, then threw her body into the creek to get rid of DNA. Now, the suspects visited a local bar just hours before they murdered her. Both men are Venezuelan nationals. They're here illegally in the U.S. Border Patrol released both of them on their own recognizance after they were arrested near El Paso earlier this year. On Friday, Jocelyn's family, friends, community leaders, police, and Mayor John Whitmire attended a vigil to remember the little girl who was taken too soon.
We all take it personal when it's a kid, when it's a young, innocent life that has something so horrible happen to it.
I was looking forward to seeing how beautiful she was going to grow up to be. And I know God is real, God is good, and they will feel God's wrath.
And Jocelyn's tragic death has shaken the Houston community and the nation. Now, she will be laid to rest later this week. There will be a service on Thursday. Mattress Mac is going to be paying the funeral expenses. So again, Pena, he will be in court this morning at 9 o'clock. We will be there. And of course, we'll be bringing you any developments throughout our newscasts and on the KPRC2 Plus live stream.
Yeah, this is horrific. It is awful. And I have a simple question that I want to ask you. Does the Biden administration, does the American government in toto, do they have negligence in this case? I know that seems like a simplistic question. Do they actually have blood on their hands with regard to this young woman's death? 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172. Is the Biden administration responsible at some level for the death of this young girl and the deaths of other women around this nation murdered horrifically by illegal migrants? The intellectual bankruptcy of the left on full display when they say, well, immigrants commit fewer crimes than American citizens. Yeah, except American citizens are here legally. These men were invited into the nation by this administration. And they have done their evil, horrific work. And she's dead, along with several others. Not to count the over 200,000 Americans dead of fentanyl that came across that border, courtesy of processing plants in Mexico that the government of Mexico refuses to do anything about. Just how many American lives do we have to lose at the hands of illegal migrants and a wide open southern border? How many Americans do we have to lose? 200,000 plus. Women raped, murdered in horrific ways. They threw this little girl off of a bridge into a creek. Does the Biden administration have blood on its hands? 817-379-2172. There are implications to what I consider to be outrageously, atrociously, and just plain illegal manipulations of American law. Countless people killed in DUI accidents from illegal migrants. Plain stone gang members from El Salvador, from Venezuela, from other countries in the Central American area, traipsing through Mexico, coming to the U.S. border, saying, I fear for my life. Yeah, of course you fear for your life. You're a gang member down there. Not only is the pitiful law enforcement part of your enemy, not the real enemy, but the other gangs in your country. Certainly, they're willing to kill you for whatever reason. Yeah, your life is in danger because you're a gang thug. You're a cartel member. And you're killing Americans. and you've been invited to this country by what I consider to be an intellectually bankrupt administration, willing to kill as many Americans necessary to not import people from poorer countries without skills, without education, without proper vaccination, without any proper health care, into this nation, not to do work that Americans won't do, but to cast votes Americans won't cast. So yeah, you wonder what I think? Yeah. The Biden administration has blood on its hands. And not just as, not trying to minimize this in any way, shape, or form, but not just from horrific attacks, DUI deaths, all manner of mayhem being imported into this country, but because of fentanyl, the illegal drugs there. And don't forget, I've been down on that border. I've seen this for myself in real time. And I've been down there for more than just 2 or 3 days, for a press junket on some opinion show on a cable news network. I was down there as a soldier in the Texas State Guard, and yes, nothing I say has anything to do with the Texas State Guard policy or the policies of the Texas Military Department. These are my experiences. And I wasn't down there for just 3 days. I was down there for 9 months. 9 months. There are things I will not describe on this broadcast that are happening down there virtually every day, all at the invitation of the government of the United States. Elizabeth Warren is pointing out that the whole reason is because of the evil Republicans. She said, they refuse to give us money for more judges and more guards, ostensibly, I suppose, referring to Border Patrol agents. And so because the evil Republicans have not provided that funding, and we don't have those judges and we don't have that personnel, we're just going to let these people into the country anyway. That's dishonest. It's intellectually bankrupt. If you don't have the wherewithal to be able to come up with whatever process necessary to be able to actually vet these people instead of just saying, oh yeah, we vet everybody, which they don't. You don't let them into the country at all. And since you can't tell, obviously, which people are here just trying to improve their lives and which people are here to try to kill as many Americans as possible, you don't let anybody into the country. You close the border. You close the border and then you fight for all of this. Then you do the food fight for immigration. But you are not going to get a real immigration bill out of this Congress for anyone to sign. You're not going to get a real one. And they say, well, what we need Republicans to take over the House and the Senate, and we'll get President Trump in there and blah, 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 blah. Well, that may be the narrative, but as we have seen time and time again, when the Republicans have power to enact things voted for by the American people, they don't do it. I'm just going to make it plain. The Biden administration and the government of the United States in toto, they are accessories to the murder of countless Americans. Well, not countless. Over 200,000 Americans because of fentanyl, DUI deaths, women raped and slaughtered. All from people here illegally. And people from the left trying to excuse it. Oh, yeah, Americans make these crimes too. The actual percentage of crimes. Well, the actual percentage of the amount of death of this young 12-year-old from Houston is 100%. This is the Wells Report. Back with more coming up in just a couple of moments. Stay there.
Let's face it, flying anywhere is too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
This is the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. Telephone number 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172. Lindsey Graham stepped up to the microphones last week and stood in front of the video cameras and discussed the possibility of President Biden being charged for all of these murders of American citizens. And then he tied it to the Supreme Court presidential immunity case. When you are in a position where you take a look at all of this, it brings up yet a gnarly, very difficult, arcane, incredibly complex collision of politics, law, adjudication, and reality. You have presidents that must be able to execute policy quickly. That's why we have an executive branch and not a prime minister. A prime minister is essentially a creation of a parliament. Therefore, the legislative branch controls how the actual laws are indeed executed. In the United States, we went a different direction. We came up with a chief executive. But what if the policies and the actual execution of American law, or more appropriately, the non-execution of American law, is part and parcel of that executive branch? What do you do then? The government of the United States is liable for the deaths of countless Americans. And yeah, they should be held accountable. And so we rail about, say, for example, presidential immunity as applied to Donald Trump. And we say, well, the things he did in office, they were covered by presidential immunity. Well, now, wait a minute. No one is above the law. Okay. No one's above the law. President Biden's not above the law. The architects of these policies should therefore face accountability in a court of law because no one's above the law. Here's another complexity. President Biden has been found unfit to stand trial for anything by Robert Hur in a classified documents case. A classified documents case that was so much stronger than the one currently being applied to President Trump in Miami as we speak. And yet nobody moved forward with that. Therefore, no one will move forward with a well-meaning old man with a faulty memory. But what about the people that are actually administrating the Biden administration? What about those people? Where did those policies come from? Where did that actual policy idea come from? Was it Joe Biden? Or was it this presidium of people in the background running the country and using President Biden as a puppet? I suspect the latter. Are they going to be held responsible for fentanyl and this flood of illegal immigrants into the nation? 2 million since President Biden just took over office in January of 2021. Are they going to be held responsible? No. Why? Well, because they don't actually exist as someone you can sue. Why not? Well, because although they run the Biden administration, in my opinion, they are absent any kind of accountability because they don't actually exist. What are you saying? You're saying President Biden's a puppet being run by others? Is that what you're saying? You conspiracy theorist. Yeah. Yeah, conspiracy theorist. No. That's what's happening. Well, but all presidents have advisors. Yeah, but they don't run the show, do they? So now we have this situation where, okay, so the government of the United States and their policies are inviting people into the nation to kill Americans. And so we have to find a way to hold them accountable because nobody's above the law. Okay. How do you do it? Well, we need to find out who's responsible for those policies because we can't go after President Biden because he's an old man with an adult memory and he'd be too sympathetic to the jury. So what we need is a government investigation as to who's running the Biden administration. Great. Who's going to do that? Politicians. Are they going to find the people standing in the background, holding the strings, the puppeteers behind the president? Are they going to find anybody in that particular presidium guilty? And how did all this happen? I'll tell you how it all happened. Because the people of the United States spend more time being manipulated by media, by dishonest politicians of both sides, than they do actually finding fact and using that fact to make a reasoned decision. And we've been doing it so long, and the media has become so much of an interferer in American politics. And the constant din of tit-for-tat arguments that supplant news coverage in this nation makes it so confusing you can't figure it out. I just pointed out something, just a small scratch of this complex situation surrounding presidential immunity, people being killed, political policy, and reality. And I just barely scratched the surface, and you know it. This is the Wells Report. We'll be back with more coming up in just a couple of moments for this Monday, 24th day of June. Back in a moment.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
Can your IRA stand up to the next financial crisis that our top economists are saying is at our doorsteps? By allocating a percentage of your IRA into physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover, you can diversify and safeguard your holdings from turbulent markets and economic downturns by putting your IRA back on the gold standard. Find out how to safeguard your assets with a tax-free rollover with a Genesis Gold IRA, the only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Call now for your free gold and silver report. Protect your IRA today with one simple phone call and learn how to qualify for up to $10,000 in free silver. Call Genesis Gold Group, empowering faith-driven stewardship.
Call 877-655-6870. That's 877-655-6870. 877-655-6870.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. Not only can a CGM immediately reduce pain, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare or private insurance, you can see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. We'll also provide free shipping of your new CGM, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline to see if you qualify for a CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
North to south, coast to coast, around the world. This is the Wells Report. We broadcast the news honestly and fairly. We analyze the news for fact and bias. We de-propagandize the mainstream media. We do make commentary. Commentary is not news. Commentary is opinion. Yours and mine. Let's compare. Let's debate. News, analysis, commentary, and debate. This is the Wells Report. Breaking news at this particular hour, the immigrant that was charged with the murder of a 12-year-old girl in Houston, Texas, faced arraignment this morning. The judge issued a $10 million bond. $10 million. Typically, you go out and purchase a bond for 10% of the actual bond, which is somewhere around $1 million. And we'll see if indeed someone steps up to post that bail. If we do, if that person does, we'll never see that guy again. So the question is, will that actually happen? That is the very latest on all of this. While we're talking about the mutilation and destruction of children, the Supreme Court of the United States is going to review a Tennessee ban of puberty blockers transgender surgery for minors. This being reported by Fox News. U.S. Supreme Court decided today to review the Biden administration's equal protection challenge to the Tennessee ban on puberty blockers and transgender surgeries for minors. The case is U.S. versus Skrmetti. It will be argued in the term that starts in October. This is the first time the High Court will consider restrictions on puberty blockers, hormone therapy, and surgeries for minors. Tennessee is one of 22 states that has measures banning such medical intervention for minors. Quote, "We fought hard to defend Tennessee's law protecting kids from irreversible gender treatments and secured a thoughtful and well-reasoned opinion from the Sixth Circuit," said Tennessee Attorney General Jonathan Skrmetti in a statement to Fox News. "I look forward to finishing the fight in the United States Supreme Court. The case will bring much-needed clarity to whether the Constitution contains special protections for gender identity." The federal appeals court had allowed the law in Kentucky and Tennessee to go into effect pending the outcome of ongoing legislation. Quote, "Tennessee adopted a law that said if you're under 18, a doctor cannot provide you with hormone treatments or puberty blockers or gender reassignment surgeries for gender purposes. And we were sued by the DOJ, the ACLU, and Lambda Legal." This was Skrmetti speaking in an interview with Fox News last month. "We won in the Sixth Circuit. Now they're trying to get the U.S. Supreme Court to address that. The bottom line is the Court of Appeals saw that it was the states that have the authority to decide whether or not these treatments should be legal within their boundaries. And some states authorize them, some states don't. That's the way our system works." True. Among those filing amicus briefs opposing the state law is actor Elliot Page. The Oscar-nominated star of Juno, Inception, and The Umbrella Academy is one of 57 transgender people who joined in supporting the Biden administration lawsuit. It has to be pointed out at this particular moment that Elliot Page was over 18 when he decided to change himself. Something about standing rings in my mind right this very moment, but let's move on. The administration is filing with the High Court, says 25 states have laws restricting or banning gender-affirming medical care for transgender youth. South Carolina passed its law last week. Republican-led states have enacted a variety of restrictions on transgender surgeries and other medical intervention for minors. arguing in court documents that states have the right to protect child welfare against, quote, experimental gender transition procedures, unquote, and from doctors or medical professionals subjecting minors to irreversible transitioning treatments. While transgender advocates have argued that the major medical and mental health professional associations in the U.S. endorse such procedures, Alabama's Solicitor General, for example, argued in court filings that, quote, radical groups responsible for the regulation of endocrine medicine are miring earnest and profound debate about how best to help children suffering from gender dysphoria. It's almost universal that parents have genuine love for their children far more than government loves their children. Tennessee simply recognizes this fact, while the Biden administration, California, and a few other culturally motivated states feign their love for children while filling their pockets with cash from leftist organizations that seek to over-sexualize children, said Robert Tyler, President General Counsel of Advocates for Faith and Freedom, in a statement to Fox News. Tyler is not involved in the specific legislation picked by the Supreme Court, but advocates for faith and freedom have made similar arguments challenging a law that makes California, quote, a transgender sanctuary state, unquote. Fox News, the comment continues, quote, why should we trust extremist politicians more than parents when it comes to the best interests of a child? Parental rights are protected under the Due Process Clause enshrined in our Constitution under the 14th Amendment. We must ensure parents continue to have a say in what happens to their children, particularly regarding their mental and physical health. Meanwhile, LGBTQ advocacy groups say denying young people transgender procedures is more dangerous. Quote, the future of countless transgender youth in this and future generations rest on this court adhering to the facts, the Constitution, its own modern precedent, said Chase Strangio, Deputy Director for Transgender Justice at the ACLU's LGBTQ and HIV Project. He said that in a statement on Monday. These bans represent a dangerous and discriminatory affront to the well-being of transgender youth across the country and their constitutional right to equal protection under the law. They are the result of openly political efforts to wage war on a marginalized group and our most fundamental freedoms. Sorry, the cynicism of saying that it's a war on marginalized groups and their most fundamental freedoms ignores the fact that these people are leveraging a marginalized group and their most fundamental freedoms in an effort to mutilate children, in my opinion. In most states in the union, I'm thinking all of them, you can't allow your child to go into a tattoo parlor and get a tattoo. But thanks to these people, they can change their bodies irreparably? Under age 18? Seriously? Yeah, seriously. The left and their horrific, shrill cries of absolute horror at the idea of Taliban and other fundamentalist Muslim organizations mutilating females in an effort to remove their ability to have pleasure during intercourse. In other words, genital mutilation was totally decried in this nation. Oh my God. Those savages. Those savages, huh? Really? Sorry. That doesn't hold any kind of reasonableness at any level for any reason. These people are playing around with our kids' lives. And while we're on the subject of it, let's talk about the constitutional right to equal protection under the law. Frankly, you're not covered by those things until you're 18 years of age. If you want to screw yourself up irreparably for the rest of your life in changing your gender after 18, okay. I think it's a genuine and silly mistake, but by all means, it's your body, your choice, right? But before you're 18, that's child mutilation. Anybody responsible for supporting it, anybody responsible for actually doing it, should, in my opinion, face charges. Now, I could be wrong. If you're a transgender advocate and you're worried about these poor kids, by all means, call me on the telephone. Tell me what you think. 817-379-2172. You won't, but do it anyway. What's the worst possible thing that could happen? The worst possible thing that could happen is I'll ask you questions you don't have the answers to, because there are no answers to this. There is no justification possible for what you're advocating, and indeed imposing on this society for the sake of some sick, twisted idea about kids that suffer from gender dysphoria not being able to mutilate themselves. Again, that's just the way I see it. I want somebody out there that is horrified, banging his dashboard or his computer desk at this particular moment to give me a buzz. Tell me how I've gotten this wrong. 817-379-2172. The problem is I haven't gotten this wrong. I haven't. I know exactly what's going on. So do you. What we have here is we have a sick, twisted, unbelievably damaging subsection of American law, of American government, American politics, and all these groups that are somehow, indeed, like this story says, enriching themselves in an effort to mutilate kids. Convince them that it's the right idea. It's not the right idea. It's horrifically wrong. How am I getting this wrong? How am I making a mistake in this? Parents taking care of their children, what, they're being held hostage by their children's musing over suicide because they take off their clothes and see somebody that they don't think they are? Is that what it is? Being held hostage by their kids. Being browbeaten into a stupid decision by these pressure groups, some of which include the United States government and the state governments that they live in. Yeah, that's not what you do. It's not what you do. That was the USA Today take on it. That was the Fox News take on it. Here's the USA Today take. The Supreme Court will wade into the controversial topic of puberty blockers and hormone therapy for transgender people under the age of 18, taking up a case that could be a flashpoint for the fight for LGBTQ rights. Again, LGBTQ rights refer to adults, not children. The LGBTQ community that supports the mutilation of children, I'm sorry, is that an LGBTQ right? No. No, it is not. And nobody's protecting these kids from surgical mutilation. I don't have any idea how the American Medical Association can justify the removal of healthy tissue through surgery. How do they do that? It's not ethical. So how is this going forward? 817-379-2172. I'm not against LGBTQ youth, adults, anybody. As long as you're an adult. But you're messing with our kids. All these people saying, yes, I'm very careful about everybody else's rights and so on and so forth, and I will give up. I will give up my children's mental health moving forward. I'll give that up. And grandchildren, all to play politics and to virtue signal to my fellow leftist crazy people. Okay. Well, the good news on that is at least you're taking yourself and your family out of the gene pool. This is the Wells Report. Boy, was that harsh? The answer is, of course, no. Back in a moment.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to Low Cost Airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
This is the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. Telephone number 817-379-2172. This voice was a gift given to me by my first voice teacher, the great Marjorie Albee. She taught me how to sing, and she used the classics to do it. And therefore, I have spent a lot of time wandering around the country from various points of view, singing the national anthem and so on and so forth. And there's always one gigantic fear that any singer has, especially when singing outdoors. And that is eating a bug. It happens. Yeah. And it also happens to famous people, as opposed to me. Nobody knows who I am. But famous people like Taylor Swift, who the other day in the middle of a concert got an additional snack and here's what this looked like when it happened.
I swallowed a bug. I'm so sorry. It's just stupid. Oh, delicious. Oh, God. Is there any chance that none of you saw that? It's fine. I've swallowed it.
Yeah, that's something we all worry about, and yeah, it happens. And I just thought I'd have you enjoy that for a moment instead of the typical grumpy rant that I've been putting out on the broadcast this morning. Hey, speaking of things that drive us all nuts, man, is it hot? Have you noticed how hot it is? It is so hot. How hot is it? It's so hot that the other day I saw an entire line of chickens out in front of Chick-fil-A begging to be plucked. Anyway, heat advisories warning of potentially record-breaking temperatures active across a vast swath of the United States. Iowa, other parts of the Plains regions are braced for rain because of floods and all the things. Tens of millions of people across the country, from South Dakota to Texas to parts of northern Florida and Georgia, face heat indexes, temperatures that take humidity into the account, into the high 90s and up to 110 degrees. I've been working outside as a part of my day job as a security supervisor, and it's hot. Man, it is really hot. And there are things you can do to keep you from dying. Specifically, you can quickly cool yourself down by putting like cold compresses on your pulse points, your wrist, your carotid arteries, your femoral arteries. But although I don't suggest putting like a cold pack on your femoral arteries, because that involves the area right around your groin, and stuffing an ice pack down your pants is probably not something you want to do in public. Although in my day job, I've seen much worse. Horrifying. So what you can do is you can put ice packs on your pulse points. There's a good one right back here, and on your wrists and so on. It'll cool you right down. It works, by the way. And also drink lots and lots and lots of water. More water than you think. If you're just walking around outside in this heat-soaked land of ours, if you're in this swath of very hot places, from the Dakotas to Texas and the southern East Coast, drink lots of water. You're going to use about a gallon of sweat. That's right. You'll go through about a gallon of water. And if you run out, then you can suffer from heat exhaustion and worse. So drink lots of water. And by the way, if you, say, for example, drink 2 or 3 bottles of water, chase it with your favorite electrolyte drink, Gatorade, Powerade, any of those things. But don't drink that solely. Intersperse it with, like, if you drink like 4 parts of water, the 5th part should be Gatorade. And that'll keep you from falling out, which is a very, very bad thing. This is the Wells Report. Back with more in just a moment.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
News, analysis, commentary, and debate. This is the Wells Report. John David Wells, thanking you very much for being a part of this broadcast. If you find value in it, please, by all means, subscribe to it. Also, share it with your friends. Hit the notification button so you know when we're on the air. And, of course, make sure you give us those thumbs ups. Those are important. Thumbs ups are important. And I would thank you for that. So, we've been watching a stunning display of anti-Jewish bigotry, sanitized by the term anti-Semitic behavior. It's not anti-Semitic, it's anti-Jewish bigotry. Corrosive, genocidal, horrifyingly terrible. And in this country, as college students from coast to coast seek to provide themselves with the idea that they are self-styled Hamas terrorists. And they are going out and demonstrating. And the latest demonstration of that horrific behavior happened at the Travelers Championship, a PGA event. Scotty Scheffler had the overall lead. Tom Kim was standing over the ball, reading the line, when protesters disrupted play, throwing flares, damaging the green at TPC River Highlands. They did it with paint. The CBS broadcast of the tournament captured the chaotic scene, as reported by USA Today. Police responded quickly. They apprehended the protesters. Per CBS, 5 protesters were taken away. Ground crews of the tournament tended to the green, resulting in a stoppage of play for several minutes. Both Kim and Scheffler appeared to cycle through visible frustration and disbelief, at times sharing a laugh, seemingly trying to diffuse the tension of the moment. At the time, Scheffler was facing a birdie putt from the fringe of the green, which he missed, which left the door open for Kim to tie the tournament and send it into a playoff. These anti-Jewish bigots that we're talking about here are at least overplaying their hand. And in a much more serious way, they are exposing themselves to what should be societal outrage and indeed absolute willingness on all of our parts to condemn all of these things and hold the people responsible for a serious breach of societal and even human proportions in what is done and what is not done. This is anti-Jewish bigotry. Take a look at this here on the Wells Report as we show you this video. See the protesters running through the sand trap. Scotty Scheffler walks away. There's the flare going onto the green.
We've got a whole group of protesters here. And they've been tackled on the ground, on the green. Police have responded quickly, but we've got, I see 4 protesters that have been handcuffed. They just came flying down the hill out of the gallery. It's actually 5 now.
See Kim shaking his head. Completely unbelievable.
There's some red powder right in the area of the cup.
Yeah, about 4 feet away. And as everybody was running around the green, you kind of wonder what sort of footprints were left out there.
Other than the paint, Trevor, there is no apparent damage.
Police did a wonderful job.
Yes, they did. The Cromwell Police Department was on it quickly.
And you can see that that horrific display was horrific. The way it worked out was as follows. After several minutes to clear the scene, the players regrouped. Kim calmly drained the putt with a splotch of red paint still on the green not far from his line. To tie Scheffler at 22 under par, Kim shouted, pumped his fist several times. The crowd roared in approval. A group called Extinction Rebellion said on social media it staged the disruption to protest climate change. 4 of the apprehended protesters wore shirts that read, "No golf on a dead planet. Golf has an environmental problem, but we still can't have that discussion until we acknowledge the fundamental realities." Extinction Rebellion. Miles Grant said in a statement posted on the group's website, "We were all watching the climate catastrophe unfold at warp speed. Our relatively mild disruption of the Travelers Championship called attention to nature's much more severe and long-lasting disruptions." It's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous, and it does go hand in hand with the anti-Semitic process, anti-Jewish bigotry that goes on, and these are the same people. These are all the same people. They're all working to the same end. And that same end is the disruption solely for their selfish ideas of what should and should not be happening. That's not the only one. Let me bring this to your attention. And this ties these ridiculous groups together. And that turns out to be a story that we're reporting from USA Today. Activists, including a volunteer group, Code Pink, assembled outside the home of CNN anchor Jake Tapper last week, demonstrating over his coverage of the Israeli-Hamas war. Video of the incident circulated on X, beginning on Friday, showing demonstrators standing on the street and shouting outside his home. Code Pink did not formally organize the protest. Doesn't matter. One protester holding a bullhorn claimed Tapper spewed Israeli propaganda. The group of activists also criticized him for not referring to the deaths of civilians in Gaza as a genocide. Continuing the Palestinians people or considering the Palestinians people's support of Hamas a terror group. It is not genocide. It is suicide. These people brought this on themselves. They support Hamas. They are essentially supporting an ideology. And in that supportive ideology of Hamas, they are Hamas. That's the way it is. That's the clear reality of it all. And all manner of this ridiculous behavior, is designed to mask the reality of it all. The reality of it all is these people want to kill Jews, and they don't care what they do to bring that about. Eventually, the video showed Tapper's children, whose faces were blurred, standing on a balcony, waving at the protesters while playing the U.S. national anthem. Good for them. You may be laughing now, but one day you'll realize the damage your dad has done, and I promise this big house won't be worth it, said the protester. You're waving and you're watching and you think it's really funny, but the truth is it's really sick, okay? Yeah, it's really sick, but the sickness that you ascribe all this to has nothing to do with the children. It has to do with your own behavior. Tapper is Jewish. He has reported extensively on the devastation in Gaza, but also called out incidents of anti-Jewish bigotry on college campuses. This amid demonstrations against the Israeli war. His reporting has been more scrutinized by some left-leaning observers as of late, along with journalists of multiple different outlets. The war in Gaza continues to rage in the months since Hamas attacked Israel, a top U.S. ally, on October 7th, 2023, killing somewhere around 1,200 Israelis. Reports claim the Palestinian death toll would be in the tens of thousands. And with the UN Human Rights Office said last week, the Israeli military may have committed multiple war crimes, made little efforts to protect civilians. Fascinating. Hamas goes into Israel, kills 1,200, and the UN is saying that Israel is the culprit. Really? We need to get the United Nations out of this country. We need to send them as far away from the United States as possible. And I do happen to believe that my personal choice for the relocation of the headquarters of the UN, Jerusalem, is roughly halfway around the planet. So it would be as far away as possible. So by all means, let's send the UN out of Lower Manhattan. And let's think very seriously about withholding our support of that intellectually bankrupt organization. So in response, pro-Palestinian activists, egged on by, guess who, CNN, have focused their ire on members of the press they argue have downplayed the bloodshed and devastation in Gaza. They don't know what they're talking about. They have no idea. The information they use is from Hamas. And the overstatement of casualties of Palestinian Gazans is totally unreliable. U.S. officials, including Joe Biden, have said Israeli forces are not committing a genocide in Gaza. Some Twitter users spoke up in defense of Tapper, calling the demonstration outside his home as gross and unacceptable. I wonder if these were the same people that were decrying the gatherings outside of Supreme Court justices' homes, up to and including an assassin sent by Chuck Schumer, in my opinion, to the house of Brett Kavanaugh. I wonder if they were saying that that was gross and unacceptable. Somehow I doubt it. These people are videotaping themselves screaming and harassing the family of one of the nicest, respectful, and responsible news anchors in the business, said Amanda Carpenter, a writer for Project Democracy, a nonprofit group founded by former administration attorneys. Talk about telling on yourselves, she said. Amanda Carpenter wrote on X, just saw the video of Code Pink protesting outside Jake Tapper's house. Gross, unacceptable, and ridiculous. Tapper is set to moderate the presidential debate between President Biden and former President Donald Trump alongside fellow CNN anchor Dana Bash. That's to happen this Thursday. Washington's Metropolitan Police confirmed it had responded to the block where the demonstrators gathered, but if officers did not take a report. Sure they did. Why would USA Today say they didn't take a report? Whenever the police do anything that intercedes with the public in any way, shape, or form, there are always reports made. That's just incorrect journalism. I'm a security supervisor. We write reports on everything. Every single thing. We are the eyes and ears, in some cases, the voices of the people that we work for. And we write reports. Come on. Don't be silly. Washington's Metro Police confirmed it responded to the block where demonstrators were gathering, but officers didn't take a report. USA Today reached out to the U.S. Secret Service for additional information. U.S. Secret Service is not going to have any information on that. That's another journalistic error on the part of USA Today. And so what do we have? Well, in the words of the horrific Chuck Schumer, the people of the left are reaping the whirlwind for what they have created. That's what they're doing. CNN egging these people along, and suddenly they start showing up at your house. Oops. It's horrendous. And what are we doing about it? What are we doing about it? Well, in fact, the people of the United States are doing something about it. They are turning away from these news outlets like CNN, who seek to abandon truth and choose sides. But it's not working. These people are still in business. The advertising still nourishes this distorted and warped idea of what journalism should be in the new millennium. And it's like all these people are surprised that this is happening. My God, they showed up at my house. Yeah. Did you not think that when they started showing up at the houses of Supreme Court justices, that this wasn't going to happen to you at some point? These people don't have anybody to blame but themselves. If you stick to the facts, and you use your interview segments in a way to flesh out the story and get both sides of the conversation, you will find yourself in a position where you'll have fewer people showing up at your house, scaring the living hell out of you. We've empowered these groups to break up PGA golf events and essentially stop us from traveling down the street. In some cases, we've watched people in the BLM riots kill citizens that happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Beating a little old lady with a 2x4, trying to protect her business from these BLM activists. This is not the country we live in. And we have to ask, who's in power? And why haven't they done anything about it? Because it serves a political interest? No, it serves a chaotic interest that has no basis in American society. This is the Wells Report.
Acta.
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low Cost Airlines.
With one call to Low Cost Airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
This is the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. I've been a motorhead and a motorsports fan and participant my entire life. Still am. Watch NHRA drag racing and Formula One. I had the incredible privilege, thanks to Dave Smith and Warren Smith, not related, to actually be an NHRA starter at Sacramento Raceway. That was earlier in my life, and I have had the privilege of starting the most famous drag racers of that era, and some of them still busy today in what is perhaps the most exciting form of motorsport that there is out there. And one of the most exciting classes of that motorsport, NHRA drag racing, well, that would be funny cars. Funny cars are these odd-looking cars that essentially have fiberglass bodies and are powered, or actually carbon fiber now, that are powered by incredibly powerful engines that make upwards of 11,000 horsepower or more, and they burn nitromethane. What is nitromethane? Nitromethane is nitroglycerin, the kind where you have a little bottle and you shake it and it explodes. Yeah. They dilute that with methanol to the point where it won't explode when you pour it into a bottle or into a fuel tank of a funny car. Then, since there just isn't enough air-fuel mixture going into the engine, they put a supercharger on top of it, of the engine, and from time to time, the flame goes the wrong direction, and there are giant explosions. One of the greatest drag racers of all time, John Force, a guy that I have actually seen both start, win, and crash had another crash. It happened a little while ago. It happened last weekend at the Virginia Nationals. He had just won his heat. He was running at 302 miles an hour at Virginia Motorsports Park when his engine exploded in a massive fireball. The car veered left, almost hit the wall, then careened back across the track into the right wall hard. He was able to escape the flames. That's why they wear these flame suits. He was able to climb to safety before getting into an ambulance. After being examined by NHRA medical officials, Force was transported to a local hospital for additional evaluation in the intensive care unit. Yeah. Well, there's video because the NHRA spends an awful lot of time videoing every single race, and this one was no different. In fact, we have it for you now. Take a look at this as we bring it to you here on the Wells Report.
Cup Bluey. John Force just blew the thing up and slammed into the wall at the top end of the racetrack. Take a look at this. 302 miles an hour banging into the walls. You're going to watch Terry Haddock first puff the tire. He's going to pedal it. John's car starts moving around. And Cobb Bluey.
Now watch this impact when he goes across the track.
Off of the right wall, and then the real big hit, in my eye, looked like when he came back across. That is a big-time explosion for a guy that's had a lot of big-time explosions.
A brilliant piece of driving. Just brilliant.
Wow, he didn't even get that wall. I thought he went over and banked off one and came back for the other, but look at this thing. Traveling across the racetrack. Fortunately for Terry Haddock, he was slowed down to the point that he was out of the way, and, man, that is a big-time hit into the concrete down there. So John Force has been through some very, very wild rides in his career. And I'm going to put that one in the top 3 or 4.
Yeah, that is the great Alan Reinhart, who was describing the action as John Force crashed again. So he's in the ICU, was in the ICU. I don't know whether he's out now. Ryan McGee of ESPN wrote it this way: just now seeing John Force's crash, one of the biggest of his career. He was alert, and the NHRA says he's at the hospital for further evaluation. Not as bad as his Dallas crash of 2007, but super scary. He was 58 then. He's 75 now. Get well, champ. Force has been a mainstay on the NHRA circuit since his debut 46 years ago in 1978. Since then, he's won 157 titles and 16 season championships. He ranks second in the 2024 NHRA Funny Car standings through 9 of 21 races. He is the owner of John Force Racing, which also features his daughter, Brittany Force, a 2-time NHRA Top Fuel champion. There are times when guys like me have to reevaluate their participation in motorsports. I have essentially put a speed limit on myself of 150 miles an hour. But John Force is 75 years old. I'm 66. And there is something else. Race drivers always get a warning crash before their lives are taken in the pursuit of what they consider to be the greatest sport ever. You get a warning. And John, I think this might be it. Ashley Force Hood used to be a funny car driver. She got married, had a baby, and decided to retire from competitive racing. But maybe she would come out of retirement for the sake of continuing the next couple of races while you get better. And then it might be time for John Force to be an owner instead of a driver. I saw Eric Medlin right before he died. He interviewed on this broadcast. And he's no longer with us. I don't want to see that happen to John Force. This has been the Wells Report. We'll be back tomorrow for another edition of this broadcast. Don't miss it. And there we have it. The end of it. I don't know what's going on with Rumble. I don't know what's happening with Rumble, but there's obviously some sort of disagreement that's being had with Rumble. I will contact my incredibly astute technical wizard Dirk Steele, who will be helping me out with that, and we'll see what we can do about getting that going again. So let me spend a little bit of time on the chat room. I really didn't have time to do that. We were talking about the Biden administration being essentially a puppet government of this presidium that stands behind him, including former President Barack Obama and many of his aides. And Gary Olivier said it's not the Biden administration, it's 44, President Biden's third term. But yes, the blood is on their hands, and that was a story about how these illegal migrants that have come across our border, supposedly vetted but not vetted, would come into the United States practicing mayhem, including the rape and murder of a 12-year-old girl in Houston, Texas. And they're being charged with capital murder. We'll see what happens. And then Yvonne says, Israel goes out of their way to give Palestinians a chance to relocate before they bomb areas, and Hamas won't let them leave. So who are the real monsters? Yeah. Let's see. JD, off topic. I just finished my new floor in my boxing gym. Let's get those workouts in. Yeah, my next really dumb move is I'm going to pick up some boxing lessons from Gary. He's actually a boxer. And I need to sharpen up. My day job and all. I just need to sharpen up. Let's see. Always a great program, said Gary to Yvonne, who said, great show. Thanks very much, you guys. God bless all y'all. Take good care of yourself, and I'll see you again tomorrow, 11 to 1 p.m. Central Time, for another edition of the Wells Report.